So I run a fairly large PR agency. So when I went to the first funnel hacking seminar and they were talking about you need a funnel for your company, I was like, this doesn't apply to me. I run a marketing agency. I'm not selling e-commerce products or supplements. But the further that I dived in, the sooner that I realized I did need a funnel. It did apply to my company. So if you're listening to this and you think that you don't need a funnel, or maybe you've tried and failed with funnels, I really want you to tune in, pay attention, take notes, because I have got one of the masters of funnels, and he is going to be discussing not only why it's important for your business to have a funnel, but how to structure the funnel for your company. And I promise, no matter what company you have, whether that's an agency, an e-commerce brand, a brick and mortar store, you're going to be able to utilize the information in this show, apply it to your business, and make a lot more money. So without further ado, I want to welcome Jordan Madirich, the founder of Drop Funnels and one of the premier funnel hackers. So Jordan, welcome to the show. Thank you for spending some time with me here.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thanks for having me, Jay.
All right, let's jump right into the juicy stuff. What are the 4 funnel archetypes? Who can benefit from having a funnel?
Great question. A lot of business owners kind of stand in 2 particular dispositions, and you just explained it. Whether they believe, hey, funnels exist and I don't need one, or funnels exist and I desperately need one. Now, there's a lot of mysticism around what type of funnel applies and what is going to work best, what's actually going to get people results. And I find that even there's a lot of sales funnel communities and very large groups with awards and events and all of that. And we kind of stand for something completely different, where actually winning matters, where we don't rely on hype. It's not an endless sales machine. The goal is, how do we help people to actually win in their business using sales funnels, sites, and strategic marketing plans to amplify whatever offer it is that they're looking to sell. And so I realized, because I was using ClickFunnels and WordPress and all these things years ago, and I was duct taping them all together. And, and the problem is it's a hairpin on a grenade, that if one thing goes wrong, the whole thing falls apart. And realized that really, even if you have, there's kind of the 2 sides. You have the funnel side and you have the infrastructure side, the technology side, that I realized wasn't being served in that market. So really what we focus on is, how do we implement not just sales funnels, which is an important part of the strategy, but also how do we leverage that into an infrastructure that can help you to get ranked in Google for free organic traffic. It can load very fast so that you have the highest possible conversions whenever you're running paid traffic, and gives you the ability to eliminate a lot of duct tape softwares together. So that's really what Drop Funnels, my company, represents. And what I lean into a lot in my training is these 4 funnel archetypes, because really all businesses, in my opinion, like some people say there's like 3,000 different types of funnels. No, you can really distill it down into 4 and simplify things. I think sometimes we don't need to grow by addition. We need to grow by subtraction. We need to pull things off the plate and simplify our lives and our thinking to get away from complication. So there's really 4 funnel archetypes, and kind of at the high level, they are it's a high ticket marketing funnel. So for high ticket offers, service businesses, anyone where you're going to be closing over the phone. We've got a self-liquidating offer, which is typically a low ticket product that would get people into your ecosystem, but they're opening up their wallet to say, yes, I'm a qualified buyer. I'm putting money up. And typically the goal is to liquidate some ad spend, right? So that you're breaking even on your funnel. So you've got $100 in traffic, provides a $100 buyer, and then profit in the back end. So one is high ticket. Second is self-liquidating offer. The third is local marketing or a flash sale. So if you think of this kind of like Groupon, works really well for local service companies, whether it's brick and mortar, it could be car washes, carpet cleaners, salons, spas, plumbers, roofers. Anyone doing those types of services can get people in with some type of a unique, upfront, irresistible offer, and then keep them on as a customer long term. And then the final one is the lead magnet or list builder, and this collects no money up front, but the goal is to give someone some piece of training or value or expertise to demonstrate that you know what you're talking about. There's a lot of competition now, probably more than ever. So the goal with the lead magnet list builder is to get people into your ecosystem for free without them paying anything. And that gives you the opportunity to make much more on the back end. So just to reiterate, high ticket, self-liquidating, local marketing or flash sale type of funnel, and then the lead magnet list builder. And really all offers can be broken down into those archetypes.
Super exciting. And I've tried a couple of these in my company. Now we mostly run the high ticket. And it's probably just because I wasn't good enough, didn't have the tools, didn't have the know-how. But let's kind of break them down one at a time. I'd love to start with the one that's most relevant for me, and that's kind of the high ticket. This is where you talk about agency services. Our average product costs $6,000 per month with a 3-month minimum. So this is kind of my wheelhouse. So I'm super interested. Talk to me about that high ticket funnel. What is the structure? What is the goal?
Yeah. So the goal, and I think perception can become reality, but we need to shift our perspective specifically with a high ticket funnel because it's a different mental disposition than the others. So with a high ticket funnel, the goal is not to get as many people through the funnel as possible, where the other 3 funnel archetypes, that is the goal. The goal is to weed out as many people as possible. The goal is to filter out for people who are not good fits or tire kickers or people who are going to waste our time. So while the other ones are trying to say mass market, get people in, let's try to get as many people on our list or in our ecosystems or to buy low ticket offers. For any high ticket offer, and my definition of high ticket is anything over $1,000, either one time or recur, specifically those high ticket offers that are most of the time sold over the phone, we don't want to be wasting our time with people who are not serious or taking up calendar space for us to be doing sales calls with them. So really the high ticket funnel and kind of the baseline that I recommend for most people is it's kind of a mix between a lead magnet list builder and the high ticket aspect. So the very first page, in case anyone's not aware, a funnel is very much just a series of web pages that leads them to the next logical decision that they're already wanting to make in the first place, right? So it's a client who doesn't have the solution. People always buy their way out of pain. It's always what they buy. People don't, I'm a firm believer that people don't buy pleasure. They buy away from pain. Even if you're buying a fancy car or a fancy purse, you're buying away from feelings of inadequacy or loneliness or any of those things. So you have something that's going to solve a particular problem for somebody. There's a service or done with you or even do it yourself type of mechanism. But the goal would be on step 1 of the funnel would be to have an opt-in form where someone's opting in to receive whatever's going to be on the other side. Now that could be what we call a video sales letter. It could be a video from you, shoot it on your cell phone, and you're talking about the primary problems that the market is facing. And the goal, just like I think it was Sun Tzu who said, seek first to understand, then to be understood. You need to understand your market deeply and understand the pains and speak directly to that. It demonstrates that you know what you're talking about and the problems that they're facing at the time. So the opt-in on page 1, it's just a very simple page. I always recommend white or very light gray backgrounds. We don't need to go crazy with design. Less is more on funnels 100% of the time. Keep it very simple. Opt-in page, and the second page goes to kind of a demonstration. If it's a software, for example, it could be a demo of that software, could be a demo of your agency, could be a video full of client testimonials or reviews. And that essential sales page is pushing them to apply to work with you. And the third page there would be for either them to book a call or to even do kind of a pre-application, to really filter out the people who you don't want to be spending a lot of time with. And so I always recommend, no matter what you're doing, if you just have a, schedule once or Calendly booking form on page 3 or a pre-filtered application, make sure that you are asking between 3 and 12 questions. That's really the sweet spot. No less than 3, no more than 12. And those questions should determine who they are, what kind of business they're operating. Is that the right fit? Even what type of revenue markers are they at right now that's going to help identify whether they can even afford your service or how creative would they need to be to get there. And the goal there, after they've applied to that, there's often a thank you page on page 4 that says, hey, great, we're going to get back in touch with you. And you've got the opportunity at that point in time to filter out whether those application questions are a good fit. If they're not, you just cancel the call and say, hey, it looks like we're not the right fit for you right now. But I always tell people, make sure you give them an alternative. Say, here's this other company that really might be a better fit, or here's this low ticket product you could buy that's really going to help you out, or here's a YouTube video that's going to help you get going in the right direction. I think service over sales is big and keeps your reputation, very strong.
This is why I love doing podcasts with experts like yourself. I always get some kind of nugget out of the interview. And if you're listening, one of my big takeaways that he just said was, when you cancel a call, give them something with it. Point them to a YouTube video or another service. It shows goodwill. And I think Hormozi did something on this, and he called it something. If you give them something and point them in another direction and don't ask them for money, eventually they will come back, they'll trust you more and automatically want to buy with you. So that was awesome. Thank you for that. And some great ideas for the funnel that we're using, because we're not doing half of the things that you just mentioned that I think would be very, very helpful. Let's dive into the next funnel archetype, which I believe was the low ticket, just to get them into the ecosystem. Is that correct?
Yep.
Talk to me about that one.
Yeah, low ticket or self-liquidating offer. One of the great examples here would be anything under typically $100 would be the very first one. Now, this is perfect for course creators. It can be even if you have a physical service like a septic pumping service, or you're a plumber. I mean, you'll see these ads on TV all the time. It's really a self-liquidating offer to get someone in on kind of an impulse buy, to get them to open up their credit card and say, yes, I want you to come into my world and I want to see what else is really going on. So again, these funnels can be hybrids of one another, but the self-liquidating offer, the beauty in it and the goal really is to break even on any ad spend. Now, great, if you're sending organic traffic and it's free, beautiful, it's all profit, right? But the goal is to bring in new cold traffic people who haven't really established trust with you yet to kick off that relationship in a great way. So the goal is to under $100. Typically, I recommend, 20 to $50 is really that sweet spot for the very first product. And it's something that should be worth probably $1,000, $500, something so irresistible. For example, if you're a carpet cleaner and you charge, $300 a room, you could say, hey, we're going to give you a whole home cleaning package up to 3 rooms for just $100. Then the goal there is you're breaking even on your ad spend. You now have a client for life. So it establishes kind of an initial and that can be kind of a flash sale option too. But as it relates to paid marketing, the goal is to break even. So the beauty of a self-liquidating offer is you've got one primary product under $100. I think even the 30 to $50 tends to be about the sweet spot. The goal there would be to have one primary product, but don't stop there. You want to add what's called an order bump. And this is one of the secrets of the trade that if you're not doing it right now, if you have any checkout, I'm going to be pretty bold on this. If you have any checkout that does not include an order bump, you're losing money, period, and underserving your audience. So an order bump would be a one-click purchase. So they click a little button, and in drop funnels, you could just add that to a funnel where they add that to their order and it increases the average order value. So for example, I have a training that teaches people how to build video sales letters. It's a $37 course. Actually, we give away our entire script for free on the front. So we're building the list even if they don't end up purchasing. And then they come in and then we've got an asset vault, which is full of scripts and slides and all these things that they can use to build their video sales letter, which is kind of like a mini webinar. And so that first $37 purchase leads to a $29 order bump. After that, you're able to add upsell, what are called upsells and downsells. So you can, on the next page, add an upsell that they click one time and it adds to their order without having to put in their credit card information again. So really the key focus there is just to slightly increase the risk and the value of that order flow, that when you send traffic directly to that funnel, some people might just take the first product, but 50% of those people will take the order bump. 25% of those people will take your first upsell. 17% of people will take that, additional consequential upsells from there. And so it's really a really powerful mechanism to use, especially if you want to just set it and forget it, because really it doesn't take not much optimization. You can set it up, run traffic to it. And the goal there is, how can I at least break even? If you can run to a profit, fantastic, go for it. I think I saw one, I won't mention the name of the person who did it, but he had like a $60 product on the front. And then the full order value, if you took all the upsells, was something like $4,000. It was like 12. So I think you got to be cautious and understand your audience's area. At what point is this annoying where you just don't stop selling? But right. I know there's a lot of opinions on that. So I'd say if any subsequent products that you're adding as upsells or order bumps directly to that primary purchase, if it complements that first purchase, you can go as long as it continues to serve people. So that's the beauty there. It can take a little bit of optimization over a couple weeks, maybe even a month, to really dial it in and ensure it's break even. But then that I can spend $200 to get a $200 buyer on the front, and then everything on the back end that they're with me over time ends up being really where the profit centers are.
Yeah, I've seen some really clever people utilize this, like Russell Brunson's book offer. It's free, just pay shipping, and then he'll upsell you on, obviously the tool. He'll upsell you on the audiobook. I'm wondering, have you seen any good examples of high ticket services or coaching programs? How do they use this? Is there a low ticket offer that they're frequently reaching for that you've seen successful?
Yeah, not so much on service like plumbers or carpet cleaners and whatnot. They probably most likely lead towards the flash sale or local marketing funnel, right? Because it's a little bit, the self-liquidating offer is a little bit more complex. You've got several products in an order flow. You're always optimizing and split testing prices for maximum order value. But I would say, let's say for a service-based business like an agency, you could provide a course, a mini course or a mini guide around how to optimize your Facebook ads if they're not profitable, right? So you could have an entire mini course on that. Or if your target market is someone who's just starting out with Facebook ads, here's my $10 a day strategy to run or to get $1.50 leads like clockwork, right? So I'm putting something out that specifically appeals to that newer market, and then everything on the back end, they're establishing, yes, I want ads to be run, but on the back, they're probably going to determine, well, I don't really want to do it myself. I need someone with expertise who can help me. And we always say that if your audience has more time than money, then it's typically good to launch a course or something that they can do it yourself. They can go through at their own pace. If they have more money than time, it's always a done for you offer, right? So you'll actually very often hook people in, kind of your whale buyers that are going to end up working with you in a done for you capacity with some done with you strategy. So they're going to come in, and it's essentially they're not going to implement what occurs in the course if they're kind of a done for you buyer. They're going to come in and say, hey, I just want to see what they're doing. They're trying to learn more about you and see how much you can establish your expertise. And then from there on the back end, service providers specifically can really win by saying, here's how we do it. Now we're going to show you how we can do it for you.
Super helpful. Great examples, all stuff that I've seen successful in practice, so I know it's real. Walk me through let's go over what are the other two funnel archetypes. You said flash sale and then
Yep. So these are kind of amalgamations of the other ones, and so we can kind of ram through them. But the local marketing is pretty much, it's like a self-liquidating offer, but you'll probably just have one offer on the front. So the best thing to think about here is if you're a local marketing business, you want to think about what kind of Groupon would you throw out to the world, but without rev sharing with Groupon, right? So the page could even look like a Groupon style page. It's, hey, come get a haircut for 50% off. And then you've got that client on recur continually, or the 3-room carpet cleaning special for just $95 instead of $3.95, right? It's an impulse buy that gets people on your list and interested in what you're offering. But typically it's just one product. They're buying one thing. It's impulse. It's crazy discounted. And the value proposition there is not spending as much as they normally would. This is really powerful, especially if you have a list of existing buyers. You can drum up a lot of new business if they haven't been with you in quite some time, but also cold market audiences, people who aren't aware of what it is that you do. This is a great, very low risk, completely risk mitigated option for them to get great value and for you to establish yourself on their Rolodex of the first people to call when they need help. The lead magnet or list builder is it's probably the simplest of all of them. You're simply giving something away in exchange for their information. So you'll see this happen all over the place. You'll see it on TV ads. They'll have you call in to get a free audit or a free consultation, or in the digital space, it could be an e-guide or an e-book, something small but valuable that requires no fulfillment on your part at all. And it gets them onto your list where you can then drip out emails to them, or even call them up and say, hey, I saw that you just got this guide. We've got lots of other trainings and programs or courses or services that can really help you. Can you let me know what it is that you're working on now? What are you struggling with that we can help with? And it opens up the floodgates there. And what I find one of the most impactful things you can do is to have a setter. This is the key that most people are missing. If you're ever doing an opt-in page, right, where you're collecting people's information, whether you're a realtor saying, hey, come come, we'll chat over what the value is of your house. If you want to sell your house or you want to buy a house, or anyone doing something similar to a consultative type of offer on the front, you have to contact them within 10 minutes. It sounds a little bit absurd. The key here with any time that someone opts in to get more information or to get followed up by you, it's speed to lead is the secret. So you need to call them, you need to email them, you need to text them. You can use multiple platforms at once to make that happen. But the key is that speed to lead. Get back to them as soon as possible, because every moment that passes, they're starting to cool off. So those last two funnels, the lead magnet list builder and the flash sale, those are really the simplest ones for people to enact if they're looking for a funnel.
Super helpful, really powerful stuff. And thank you for running through those funnel archetypes with me. That was awesome. Then there's a lot of important pieces at play to have a successful funnel. I mean, your ads have to work. So you need good ad copy, creative. Your targeting needs to be on point. The software needs to work well. It needs to look really smooth, clean, fluid, fast. And then within the funnel, you need to actually be able to convey your offer, sell that offer with your ad copy, your video. And one of the things we talked about pre-episode briefly was structuring the offer in such a way that people feel stupid saying no. So talk me through the offer that actually goes inside one of these funnels. How do you structure that in a way that gets the consumer to buy?
Boy, Jay, I love this question because I love talking about offers. Alex Hormozi has a great book, $100 Million Offers, that I think really exemplifies a lot of the structures that will really help. But for me, I think there's 4 questions that you should ask yourself anytime you're going to put out an offer, because straight up, every business, and I would stake my name and my livelihood on it, every business lives and dies by the value of the offer. Period. Full stop. You could have the sexiest funnel, the greatest ads with the greatest copy, the perfect color buttons that motivate people to click. You could have all those amplifiers and have a bad offer and you're going to fail. And the inverse is true. You can have a really bad funnel, an ugly funnel with subpar ads and copy, and still that offer can convert really well if the offer is great. So there's really 4 questions to be asking yourself, because if you have the belief that if my offer is better, I'm going to convert higher, then we have a moral and ethical responsibility to make the offer as valuable as possible. So when we talk about offer, it's what do you do in exchange for money? The key here is to break away from competition and being a commodity offer. So if let's say you're a carpet cleaner, you need to break away from being just like every other carpet cleaner. There's got to be something unique, and it doesn't need to be necessarily price. Often your prices can be significantly higher when the value is higher, or you're serving a market who sees the value in that specifically. So I've got these 4 questions, and I've got them written down here just so that if anyone wants to write these, I like to give everyone, say, hey, give yourself a score from 0 to 10 on these answers. So the first one is for the perfect buyer, right? So you've archetyped your perfect buyer. What's the worth to them to get that result instantly? So let's take fitness, for example. Say I wanted to get a 6-pack. What is it worth for that market to get an instant 6-pack? 10 would be it's invaluable, it's super valuable. 0 would be worthless. You're targeting the wrong people, right? So what would be the result or the value to them to get the result instantly? That really tells you the targeting, right? It gives you who you need to be targeting in your market. Question number 2 is what I call the risk. Now, if they follow the process exactly, if they follow exactly what you tell them to do, whether they hire the agency and certain processes are taking place, or they follow your fitness coaching program, what is the likelihood that they're actually going to get the result? Some offers can say 10 out of 10 is guaranteed. You're absolutely going to get exactly what you paid for. Others can kind of struggle. There can be some variability in there. They can be, well, maybe the company isn't as good as they claim that they are, and the result is really all that matters to the buyer. So when we're creating an offer, we want to ensure that there is a risk mitigating factor to it, that we're able to, as much as possible from 0 to 10, guarantee that what we claim and what we promise we can back up. Question number 3 is what I call the when. So compared to them doing it alone, I do not have a 6-pack, Jay, as much as you probably assumed that I did. But if I wanted a 6-pack, right, compared to me going out and figuring it out on my own, doing my own investigation, trying to figure out how all that works, versus hiring someone who knows the fast path, the shortcut to getting there, how long would it take for that to occur, right? So if you can get someone a result within 3 months, that's a super, super powerful range of time. Because for me to get my own six pack, it might take me a year. It could take me 2 years, and I'd probably fail and give up and do all these, sign up for 12 different gyms and go to none of them, and all these things going on my own. The chances of how long it's going to take me to get that result, right, can be quite slim. So the goal would be, as much as possible, compared to them doing it alone, how quickly can you get a result specifically by working with you versus them doing it on their own. The last question is, how much physical, mental, or even emotional effort is required for them to get that specific result? So if they're coming in, if you're an agency, the best way to make your offer irresistible is to eliminate almost everything off the plate of the client. So if you are just a website builder, or maybe you're a funnel builder, or maybe you just run ads, but you're not helping with the other ancillary pieces of the puzzle, my best recommendation is to include those things. Like get a designer in there to help build some funnels for them. Get a copywriter to help write some follow-ups. Help connect them to someone who can set appointments as they come through that funnel, because you're going to win long-term with people when you're able to have a well-rounded perspective. Now, it doesn't mean they have to do everything, that you are doing logo design or you're printing brochures, or you're doing direct mail. You don't have to do every possible marketing strategy, but for that specific buyer, you need to understand, how can I eliminate or severely mitigate the amount of effort that client's going to have to put in order to get the result that they have. So the more effort that we can eliminate, the faster we can deliver the result, the chances of that result actually happening, and the value of them getting that result are really the 4 top questions. And so if you can give yourself 10 scores on that, you've probably got a killer offer that will convert at an extremely high conversion rate.
So the goal is formulate your offer until you've got 10s across the board. Is that about right?
That's about right. So the goal would be to give yourself the very best scores, meaning the value to the buyer is the highest, the risk of whether it's going to happen to not is the least, the amount of time it's going to take to get there comparatively is quite minimal, and the amount of effort that they're going to have to put in is minimal as well, right? So you can be thinking about some of these numbers and give yourself really an algorithmic score on the other side to know how good the offer is. And again, as kind of a side note, in terms of the six pack, like different offers can have different value to people, right? So you can charge $2,000, $5,000, maybe $10,000 for someone to help you to get a six pack, or to lose 30 pounds. Say that's the goal. I want to lose 30 pounds. Well, you can also go get liposuction, and it's going to cost you $40,000, and it's going to be done in a day, right? So these are 2 different processes that can help people get what it is that they want. One happens a lot faster than the other, but one is much more expensive than the other. So if you can truly separate yourself.
A great example in his. Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say, Hormozi had a fun example of that in his book. And by the way, you mentioned $100 million offers. I think I've already quoted it a few times. But it was like, the value of Xanax is much better than the value of meditation. So although they both kind of have the same end effect, which is reduced anxiety, the time that it takes to achieve that and the effort that it takes to achieve reduced anxiety with one or the other is vastly different. Obviously, Xanax is instant, requires very little effort, whereas meditation, lots of effort, lots of time. So like you said, being able to implement that in your offer, I think, is going to have a big impact on what you can charge, what people are willing to pay for it.
Yeah, I would agree. I think I think the biggest thing is it comes down to us. It's not necessarily what are we offering right now and how do we try to manipulate the offer to get people to buy it, put a square peg in a round hole. How can we shift our offer to be exactly what it is that they want with the least amount of risk, least amount of effort, least amount of time, even if they are spending more versus a comparison of other commodity offers or comparisons?
Let's jump into, and we talked about funnel structure. One, you have to have the setup correct. Obviously, you got to send people there. You got to have your goal very defined, whether you want them to purchase a low ticket thing, opt in for a calendar call. The offer needs to be on point with those questions that you just described. Those are super helpful. Thank you. Kind of the in-between of those is the tools that you're using, which need to be really dialed in. You mentioned bumps, upsells, downsells. It needs to be fast, needs to have a great layout. And there's a couple tools that I've become familiar with over the years, some that people have heard of, some that haven't. How do you decide on the right tool to start building your funnels? What are the big difference makers?
Yeah, boy, great question. I'm obviously quite biased, so everyone will have to take my advice with a grain of salt, because I happen to be a platform owner that I fully believe and could back up would give you the highest possible conversions when it relates to sales funnels. And it happens in this way. So whether you use drop funnels or you go anywhere else, these are the primary considerations you need to understand. Number one is page load speed is critical, absolutely critical. If your pages are taking 30 seconds to load, your conversions are going to drop no matter what traffic source they're coming from. It has to be fast, and it has to be fast, especially on mobile. Probably 80% of traffic coming through right now, people are on their mobile phones. So it needs to be mobile optimized. It needs to look good on mobile. Unfortunately, a lot of platforms don't optimize for mobile. So you have to create like another version of the page that's only for mobile that actually decreases the speed of your site, because you're loading two pages at the exact same time, one for desktop, one for mobile. So the best thing is to have one page that's mobile optimized. And so that's what we focus on, is ensuring that you can edit one page to apply to any device, whether it's iPads, phones, or desktop. And you don't have to be a tech genius to do any of this stuff, right? It's all very, very simple. It's just understanding that it has to occur. So page speed is super critical. Try to eliminate a lot of external scripts or embeds or really large file sizes. It's going to help to increase the speed. Amazon did a big study and found that for every 100 milliseconds of latency, they could lose up to a 1% conversion rate on their pages. So that means that if there's a full 1 second, they're talking about up to a 10% loss in revenue that would cost billions of dollars. So we need to be paying attention to these things on any of our funnels, is to pick a platform that can be very fast. The second aspect of this is ensuring that you can rank. Now, there's, I think, and it's my own personal opinion, is that I don't want to be beholden to paid traffic for the rest of my life, right? Paid traffic is a great amplifier. I love paid traffic, running Facebook ads, Google ads, YouTube ads. But to leverage organic traffic means showing up on the homepage of Google with an indexable platform. Now, the number one tool to do that with it's called WordPress. If those listening here are familiar with it, it powers 34% of the internet. It's the number one ranking factor when it comes to a platform that can actually rank on Google. So if you're not straight up, hands down, and anyone could refute it, but they'd probably be wrong. If you're not on WordPress, you are losing organic opportunity, period. So that's why, because it didn't exist, that's why we built drop funnels on a WordPress-based infrastructure, so that you can actually rank your sales funnels in Google. And we see people get floods of new traffic in certain areas or dispositions for keywords, to actually get ranked in Google, so that you're not stuck with paid traffic all the time. When people search for you, you actually show up. So that's a really powerful aspect of it. And I think the third and final note here is, I think there's something really important as it relates to this duct taping issue that we're all facing in many cases, is that we've got this tool here, it has to connect to this, and it has to hopefully sync with this, and it's going to work. And I've got my courses over here, my sales funnels here, my websites over here, my blogs over here. And my biggest thing is simplicity. So addition by subtraction, eliminate all of that. And for me, I literally only build in one place. I build, in fact, we market drop funnels on drop funnels. We use our own tool to market the business, and have been successful doing so. And so we find, there might be some things that you add in on top. You might have like a mass email autoresponder. You might have, other tools that you add in and connect to with Zapier or whatever. But for probably 99% of people, they're paying for tools that they don't need, and it's causing tech confusion, and it's keeping them stuck in the weeds. So I would say, like, if you can eliminate all tools except for one or two, what would you run your business on? And if you go through that experiment and you find, no, I need 20 softwares to run my business, well, you're probably a little misguided. You're probably confused and lost, and you haven't tasted how great it is, the land of milk and honey of having simplicity. So that's my biggest suggestions: is speed, organic ranking, and just simplicity of the tech stack.
You're making fun of me with our 20 softwares that we use.
Yeah, sorry, man. I got to say it.
It's okay. Now we make fun of ourselves sometimes, but one of me or my co-founder will bring up another tool. Like, I think we need this. We just like, no, man, no more. We're done adding.
And it's always like,
true,
I think we need this. Like, I'm not sure that we need this, but I think
right. You see something shiny with good marketing. Your friends are using it. They're like, oh, you need to use Airtable for this and this. I'm like, no, like that's forget about it. But it's funny. You're right. Perfection isn't what you can add. It's what you can take away. And if there's a tool that can replace multiple other tools so that your team isn't logging into multiple things and everything's communicating better, then it's just going to be seamless. You know, everything we have is patched together with Zapier. And to be frank, we're too deep now to go back and, and change it all. But if you're starting and you're not fully integrated into a CRM, a project management tool, there's a lot of good stuff out there. And same thing with one of the questions that I had for you regarding WordPress, SEO, funnels. Do you think that it's a good idea to have, you know, a separate website from your funnel building tool, maybe that's running on a subdomain of your website? Because that's what we're currently doing. You know, our main otterpr.com is running on WordPress, fully SEO optimized, and then we're on ClickFunnels with like it's like shop.otterpr.com. What would you recommend to people who are making that decision?
But I love that you asked this question, because very few people understand the consequences of these various decisions, right? So when you are on, and there's lots of ways you could go about it, and people could probably refute and choose to do whatever's best. I always say, do whatever's best for you, right? My opinion, and I'm very staunch on this because of the data and the metrics that I see, is that your sales funnels need to exist on the same domain as your primary website. And here's why. On a subdomain, there's like the root, so shop.yourdomain.com might be where you're sending ads, but we find that between 60 to 90% of people, they go to that page and they actually leave to go to your root domain. They'll actually go in and edit the URL to go back to the home site, to go to the base root domain, to go find out more information. Like, what is this thing even about? And we see a very significant portion. If anyone here, if you're not tracking it, I'd suggest you do so. So the way that we structure things is because you can do it in one. You know, say you've got j.com. Your funnel, your main domain would be j.com, but then it'd be j.com/opt-in would be your main funnel, or j.com/ whatever the funnel name is, and then the funnel step name. So you're always building on your root domain, so that if anyone leaves, they're able to go back to your primary website. So this is a very subtle shift. I think there's benefits on one way or the other. I think that the danger of not putting it all in one is that people are leaving your funnel to go back to your root domain, and are they able to get back into the funnel from that? But also when it's in different infrastructures, like your sales funnels can't rank well in ClickFunnels, for example, or GroupFunnels or some of these
for them too.
Right. But it's not because you don't want it to, it's because it doesn't.
Right.
Like, if you
didn't realize
a sales funnel, you would.
The metric on people leaving your subdomain to go to your primary domain, how much traffic that you're probably, I don't want to say wasting because you got them to your domain, but they're not going through the steps that you wanted them to go through. Did you say there was a number on that? And how do you, I guess, track that? Is that just from your Google Analytics, like traffic coming from that subdomain source?
Yeah. So we'll find, as an example, we have our funnels for drop funnels, and we use it so we'll have dropfunnels.com/trial, or whatever the funnel is that we're sending direct traffic to. We'll find that between 60 to 90%, depending on the day, the targeting, the ad group, will actually leave that, go back to the home site, and then come back. So what I recommend doing is kind of this infinite loop, that your primary home site should look like a website, but it should operate like a funnel. It's what I call an authority funnel. It should be very, very clear how they get back into the funnel, and your primary website is only a channel to get people into the sales funnel. Right. So that's my very best recommendation. And we'll find that, again, we'll be running all of our traffic directly to sales funnels. They'll leave that. They'll go back to our home site, go get more information. They'll Google us. They'll look around and look for reviews, and then they'll start a trial directly from the home site. So we can see 9 out of 10 times they're leaving to go back for more information. So I think that in this era of information marketing where the power is now in the hands of the people, they're able to go find, more about you. And if they Google you, what shows up? If they go to your home site, do they get to go back into the funnel where you wanted them in the first place? Are you ranking in a way that lets you leverage that growth as they continue to search and research? Because I promise you, anyone here, if you're running paid ads, people are Googling you as I do it myself. Like I'll
100%.
see an ad for a supplement or something, and I'll be first thing I hit Google and hit product name, reviews. Whatever shows up there is often the thing that customers are going to trust.
For my WordPress users out there, so I know you said this is built on WordPress. Say you decide to go with Drop Funnels. Is this a plugin that you add to your WordPress site? Is it a theme? How does one implement this on their WordPress site?
Right. I get that question a lot. So it's actually completely, it's a hosted environment. In fact, because of WordPress is very powerful, but because there's so many themes and plugins and servers and all that are very technical. And if you update one plugin and it doesn't work, your whole site goes down. We've eliminated that as an ability. So really, we're not for WordPress power users who they know what a cPanel is, they know how to code, they know how to develop, they know how to do all those things and really make things work really well. So it's not for those people. It's for people who want the WordPress benefit, but without the WordPress headache. So it's completely self-hosted. Your site is up and running in 30 seconds. You can host all of your clients inside of your sub accounts. If you want, and they've got their own domain per site, their own sales funnels, their own courses, all built into one spot. But yeah, we handle all the server side. We handle plugins. We handle updates. We develop new features and launch it directly into the system. So most people won't even know that it's WordPress unless you hear a podcast like this, but it's that benefit but without the headache.
That's a beautiful thing, especially if you're getting started. We have 2 developers that are on full-time retainer with us. And if we didn't, because we've gone through it, WordPress is a beast. And especially once you start adding plugins and custom code and doing updates, things break all of the time. So without a developer on call every time that you need it to go fix something, this solution sounds like a really great innovation in kind of funnel technology. So very, very cool. One question that I had for kind of my own company use case is, I'm not an expert in funnels. I've tried to build them. I'm okay at, designing, copy, blah, blah. There's a lot of people that would consider themselves funnel hackers and know how to implement offers and funnels and take people through and do the metrics. Is there a done for you service or person or place that you've found success in or that you refer people to if they're looking for somebody to actually build their funnels for them?
Yeah, so that's one thing. We're actually making a big shift. So this is a little bit of alpha information that maybe by the time this podcast comes out, it'll be launched. But we're realizing one of the biggest things is that when people come into the platform is they don't know how to build a funnel. They'll often leave, right? Because it's overwhelming or they don't know really what they're doing. So really where we're moving into is a much more done for you approach, right? Where when you come in, we're either going to migrate your funnel for you if there's one existing, or we're going to build you one, right? At least one based on the 4 funnel archetypes, ensure that it's up and running, that all the automations can occur as they need to, and that it lands with the audience with the copy that comes through. So we're shifting into more of that model. Again, it's that wouldn't be a replacement for someone who's an expert funnel builder who knows what they're doing, or they have an onboarded team who can design and write and do all those things for them. But that's probably 1% of the entrepreneurial space in the sales funnel land. I'm the whole funnel hacker thing. I've been in that space, and Russell Brunson's a genius in all of that. So no bad things to say on that. But like that whole ethos is around stealing what other people are doing and taking their funnel and imagining that it's going to work for you. And then you're going to find very, very quickly is that it doesn't, because you don't have their audience. You don't have their language. You don't have their press or their clout or their authority. You're different. So that's why I'm not a huge fan of the funnel hacking promise and prowess and that type of thing, because you can apply one of the funnel archetypes to your business and it'll work, right? Because you're taking a framework instead of, hey, I'm going to go steal this person's funnel and do exactly what they're doing. Same copy, it's going to get you in trouble, right? You're stealing the hard work that someone else has done. And I think that we should shine through our uniqueness and separate ourselves as far as possible from anyone doing the same thing instead of trying to borrow what it is that they're doing. So yeah, as a brand, we're leaning much more in. If anyone right now needs it, we've got a whole host of talented people who are very good at funnels that we can connect them to. We even have DropFunnels certified partners that have gone through rigorous testing and training to know how to build sales funnels, and have some really great options to help design things. So yeah, we have that available.
Cool, Jordan. I appreciate it. Finally, just to wrap things up, this is Mentors Collective. I always end with the same series of questions. So is there any mentor, someone that people are familiar with that you follow, that you recommend other people check out, who's been an inspiration to you?
Oh boy. There's a guy that probably many people won't know. His name is Craig Rochelle. He's got the Craig Rochelle Leadership Podcast. And he's a pastor and a leader in both business and in the church leadership space. His podcast is pure gold and is so powerful. Anyone leading a high integrity organization. So I have a ton of respect for him. His name is Craig Rochelle again. Actually, not so much on the money side of things, because I don't exactly subscribe to everything that he says, but Dave Ramsey, his book, EntreLeadership, I think is fantastic. I love that book and that model. But really, I used to follow a lot of kind of guru mentors in the space, and I kind of stopped, kind of broke away from that because, for me, I'd rather be the mentor and help guide other people. There's certainly people who can inspire you and help guide you in the right direction. But I like to look outside of the internet marketing space towards people who've done, really, really incredible things as well. I love Elon Musk, as most of us marketers do as well. Love Elon Musk. He's a genius and really innovative and disruptive. And so I love those character attributes in him.
Same as me, same as most marketers and entrepreneurs. I'm sure he's an idol. Craig Rochelle's a new one. So I'm going to link that down. Groeschel, if you're listening to this, yep. Craig Groeschel. So I'm going to link that in the show notes. Go check him out. I'm going to definitely go check him out as well. I've been looking for some new leadership content. But if you're listening, go check out dropfunnels.com. Go follow Jordan Meidrich. Jordan, where's the best place to connect with you if people like what they hear and want to talk to you?
Yeah, I figure if anyone stayed this long, they're probably pretty invested in this content. So if anyone wants to shoot me an email, I'm Jordan, Jordan, at dropfunnels.com. It's my personal email. If I can point you in the right direction or encourage you in some way, would be happy to. I answer all my own emails and would be happy to. So I don't have like a VA that spits things out. Would love to make any connections. We also have a good Facebook group as well. And just go on Facebook and search DropFunnels and you'll find us there. One of our biggest differentiators we really try to focus on is really high level and more intimate support. So we care deeply about that. We care about fast support and getting questions answered no matter where someone is in their journey. We really care about that. So we're a much smaller outfit. We're very much more boutique than some of the very large brands, but we care much more about deeper relationships with the people that we serve. So we'd be happy to connect with anyone who'd like to chat.
Beautiful. Jordan, thanks for sharing your email. I'm going to use it. And thank you for joining me and spending some time with my audience. Always great to connect with people in the space. I learned a ton from this, and that's why I do it. I know the listeners did as well. So thank you, brother. I'll see you in the next one.
My pleasure. Thank you.